Good evening. Can you all hear me? All right. Can you hear me okay? If someone can hear me, will you just type in and let me know? Oh, awesome. Thanks for letting me know, Brad. I appreciate it. Thank you as well, Denise and Lisa. So the good news is I have the laptop up also, so I don't have to like do this every time to see what people have to say. Yes, go Cubbies. Although I must say I'm really bummed that baseball's happening right now. I don't think it should be going on, but so good evening, everybody. Welcome to Intro to Buddhism and Meditation. Uh, good to be with you all. It's going to get dark here in a minute, so give me a second. I'll be right back. All right. So we'll just take a minute. We'll join palms as we do an offering to begin. And you can repeat after me. I take refuge in the Buddha. I take refuge in the Dharma. I take refuge in the Sangha. All right. So again, welcome everyone to Intro to Buddhism and Meditation, live, not from the Dharma Bum Temple this week, but appreciate all of you being here. It's nice to be with everybody. As you like to start with a little kind of question, just the first couple minutes as people settle in here. Usually something on a positive note, but why don't we share something you've learned about yourself recently over the last couple weeks or couple days? Something you've discovered, maybe an insight, uh, positive trait, or a trait that you're not so happy about. But only take a couple minutes and just I don't know, share something you've learned about yourself recently. And after a few of you chime in, we'll go ahead and then get started with the meditation. Solitude, more resilient. Interesting. Samir, I think I saw you say you can find peace at home. That's very good. Learning to be kinder to yourself. Yeah, definitely. That's a good one as well. Migraines and physical pain definitely suck. So it is good to kind of have a little gentleness towards yourself during that time. What else? Anyone want to share what they've learned about themselves recently? Yeah, Carolyn, I see your response. It's funny because I think what this practice has taught me is to really just embrace what's happening, whether we see them as positive or negative or good or bad, as just kind of what's going on. Um, and if we feel physical, mental, emotional pain, that's just part of our lives. And we feel joy and happiness, excitement. It's also part of our lives. But to me, the practice of equanimity is just to be steady and still with all of these things as they're happening. Um, Migraines, physical pain, excitement, joy. These are all just moments in our lives, and some of them are pleasant and some are unpleasant, and some of them are neutral, as the Buddha taught. So, observing what they are, understanding the impermanence of them, for me has always helped. Um, Forgiving people, yeah, that's very important as well. Um, Denise not always having to be the strong person, definitely. Holding no grudges, also very important. We tend to carry a lot of pain with us, and not always so fun. Anything else anyone wants to share? Yeah, Marisa. Yeah, that's a good one to wake up to. I'm not as far along with some of the things as I thought I was. Yeah, it's kind of a big wake up call. I always reflect on, you've probably heard me share this example, but I used to love, or I still love, but Friends, the show, TV show Friends, and there's one where Phoebe is talking about her past lives, and she's explaining that, and then Joey chimes in and says, I want to know about my past lives, and she says, "You're brand new." So uh, often we feel like Joey, who's kind of just lost on things, and we think we can do meditation for a while, or be around a Buddhist place for a while, or read a bunch of books for a while, and that we should be further along on our spiritual journey than we are. And every so often we kind of just wake up and realize, wow, I got a long way to go. So, but we keep going. And even though we might not be as far along as we'd like to be, or um, as we thought we were, um, we're definitely further along than we were from the past. So it's always a good way to look at it. Just keep heading in the right direction. So with that, I think we'll get started with the meditation practice. A couple things to tell you before we begin, for those who might be joining for the first time. Nothing's going to happen to you. You won't float away. You won't have any mystical, magical experiences. The mind that races all day long is not going to shut off. Don't judge your practice, meaning don't ask yourself, is this working? Is it not working? Am I doing it right? Am I doing it wrong? We're just going to sit, we're going to breathe. You'll hear sounds inside the room, sounds outside. This is life. Life is filled with chaos and filled with sounds, and the practice of meditation is learning to get quiet and still within all of the sounds. So, posture, you just want to find a position that's comfortable. If you're on a cushion, often it helps slide into the front third, pushing the stomach forward, allows the back to straighten, shoulders are relaxed. Hands can be on the knees or in the lap, whatever's comfortable. If you're on a chair or bench or couch or bed, whatever you're on, you also just want to try to sit up straight, relaxing the shoulders. Hands also on the knees or lap. I will guide us as we begin, and we'll settle into a little bit of silence. Most important, don't expect anything. We're just going to sit and breathe. And starting with the eyes closed if comfortable, or slightly open, mouth open or closed. We'll start with taking 3 deep breaths slowly. And eventually settle into a natural rhythm of the breath. Noticing the mind as it wanders, jumping from thought to thought. We'll start with gently guiding the attention, focus to the stomach or chest. And breathing in, feel them rise. And breathing out, they fall. I'm simply going to continue this practice, observing sensation of breath, expecting nothing but to sit and breathe. As the mind wanders, lost in thought, recognize it and release that thought and return attention, focus to the breath. Where's your mind? Lost in thought. Return attention, focus to the breath. Letting go of expectations, letting go of judgments from your practice. Just sitting, breathing. Breathing in, follow breath in, breathing out, follow breath out. Keeping the mind alert, aware of each sound, each thought, each physical sensation. Breathing. And with the body still and rested, and the speech quiet, aware of all sounds, and the mind learning to settle, know what it's like to just sit and breathe, knowing with each breath there's nothing else to do, nowhere else to go, no one else to be. Everything beautiful, just as it is, sitting, breathing. And once again, taking 3 deep breaths slowly, and when ready, slowly open the eyes, slowly begin to move, and most important, with the practice of meditation, is to recognize how you feel now, immediately after. Compare this to how you typically feel throughout your day. Recognize the difference, if there is one. Ask yourselves how you'd prefer to feel every day for the rest of your life. And realize however you feel now, if it's quiet, calm, and still, or a busy mind, racing mind, whatever you're sitting with at this moment, has nothing to do with anything I said. It's nothing to do with how we sit and hold the hands or cross the legs. It's nothing to do with the sounds around us or anything else for that matter. It has everything to do with your own mind and your own mind's reaction to an external condition. This is what the Buddha called pratitya samuppada, means dependent origination. This is the basis for the Buddhist awakening. The word Buddha simply means awakened. He was a human being no different than any one of us who began to understand why he suffered, why he got angry, sad, depressed, stressed, anxious. He began to understand the causal relationship of all phenomena. And what that means for all of us is every moment of our lives, things happen and we react. More stuff happens, more reactions. That's what we get. This practice is learning what it's like to respond to something quietly, peacefully, still. Because for most of us, the way you responded to the last 20 minutes is quite different from how you respond to everything else that's happening throughout your day. So all we're working on is closing the gap to where the way you feel now is closer to how you feel always. just as driven, motivated, productive, successful, whatever that means to you in your respective lives, but with a mind that's steady, clear, focused, distracted by nothing, disturbed by no one. It's not an easy practice, not necessarily fun, but meditation is free. Buddhist practice is free. Sitting, breathing, learning to be kind to yourself and everybody else you encounter every moment of your life. And that's it. I asked at the beginning things you've learned about yourself. Um, and it was nice to see, just the various responses. Um, some wonderful things we've learned, maybe some not so wonderful things, some kind of neutral things, but either way, there are opportunities to reflect upon ourselves. And to me, that's what Buddhist practice is about. It's understanding how we are in every situation we're in and facing things as they are. Nothing else to do, nowhere else to go, no one else to be. Everything beautiful exactly as it is, sitting and breathing. And that's it. So we sit and we breathe and we learn to become present with things as they are. So I think I'd rather just stop there. And I always prefer really to respond to questions, meditation, Buddhist practice, anything you're sitting with. Um, and I can respond. And we use the rest of the time tonight for that. So if you are new to joining us or new to YouTube, somewhere on your screen or your phone, there should be a place to type in anything you want to ask or share. So I'll go ahead and give time for that now. Can we use meditation to cultivate compassion? Um, uh, I'll start with that one, and then Brad, I see your question there. Yeah, if we think about uh, the cultivation of compassion, just to back up briefly for those who might be new to Buddhism or um, kind of understanding the Buddhist teachings, the Buddha said very clearly that we suffer what's called the three poisons: greed, anger, and ignorance. This is what causes our discomfort, our angst, dissatisfaction in life. And we're greedy, we always want more. We're angry, we don't like the way things are. And we're ignorant, meaning we think our view is always correct. I'm sure none of you, but once in a while you might think you're always right. So the question of how do we overcome greed, anger, ignorance? Well, we overcome greed with generosity, we overcome anger with compassion, we overcome ignorance with the practice of wisdom. So the question of can we use meditation to cultivate compassion? Anytime people ask questions around how do you cultivate compassion or wisdom or anything like that, for me, I always look at the Buddhist teachings on what's the opposite of compassion. And so the opposite of compassion, again, using the second noble truth, the cause of suffering, um, is anger. And instead of trying to deeply cultivate compassion, for me, it's always been about trying to remove anger. Because if I remove anger, then what's left is compassion. So I didn't have to actually cultivate compassion. I just had to remove anger. And as far as using meditation as a tool for that, absolutely 100%. For me, growing up as a very angry kid, um, I just never really had much of, any way to get rid of anger. I had sports and some outlets and things like that. But other than that, the anger was always there. And meditation practice very deeply helped me remove the anger because it trained my mind to be present and be with things as they are, as opposed to how I wanted them to be or how I thought they should be or what I thought I deserved or what I thought everyone should do around me, right? Meditation just brought me to this moment. And in this moment, all I'm doing is sitting and breathing. That's it. So there's no anger to be found in this moment. I'm just sitting, I am breathing. And as the Buddha taught very clearly, Anapanasati Sutra, breathing in, taking a short breath, I know I'm breathing in, taking a short breath, breathing out, taking a long breath, I know I'm breathing out, taking a long breath. So he talked about just focusing on the breath. The Zen practice, we call that present time awareness, where you're just present in each moment. Breathing in, there's my breath in. Breathing out, there's my breath out. So in these individual moments of breathing and during meditation, there is no anger that arises. And if there's no anger that arises, by default, what I'm left with is this endless, boundless sense of compassion, gratitude, appreciation for the present moment, because the present moment has me alive. And to me, that's the most beautiful thing there is. So while I never answer questions directly, but can we use meditation to cultivate compassion? Yes. But again, to recap, it's to me not about cultivating compassion, but to me, it's using meditation to keep anger from arising. And if anger doesn't arise and anger is nowhere to be found, then by default, I come from a place of compassion. So hopefully that's helpful. I think it's also important to begin to understand what triggers and causes our anger. It's usually wrapped up in past or worried about future. We're angry about things that didn't go right this morning or yesterday or years ago. Um, and so meditation being just staying in the present moment, then we're not stuck in the past. So hopefully that's helpful, Samir. Um, so the question, struggling to pay rent from losing my job, so hard to stay positive, but I try my hardest and trust the process. Yeah, I mean, these are difficult times for a lot of people. Some more so than others. Some people love the isolation, the quarantine, the whatever you want to call it, and some people it's absolute torture. Doesn't take away the pandemic that's going on around us, but some people, like I said, they enjoy the quiet isolation. Some people, it's put them in tremendous financial loss and difficulties and challenges. And for me, staying positive has always been the only option. Um, trusting the process is important, but I think it's just about not even so much about having trust in the process, because to me that sounds almost like trying to overcome doubt or fear, which is important, but just be with things as they are. So you've lost a job, you can't maybe pay rent. That's it. Um, that's the reality, and that's it's like the migraines. Um, this is what we have, and embrace it for what it is. This is life. Some moments are easier than others. I've always said Buddhism doesn't solve things, it doesn't fix things, it doesn't make things easier necessarily. But to me, Buddhist practice has always been about waking up to what is the true nature of reality in each situation. Um, and when we have financial struggles and we struggle to pay rent and things like that, it's important to look at other aspects of our lives. How we spend money, how we buy things. Do we have more than we need? These are opportunities to learn about generosity and what we can give. Even though you're struggling to pay rent, I'm sure you have so many things you can give away to others. Um, Shoes, shirts, food, whatever it might be. Uh, when we struggle the most with receiving anything, that's the time to give. Um, the karma from giving is beautiful. So maybe it sounds crazy, but just give whatever you can give. And I don't mean to downplay the idea of trust the process, but I think to me, trust the process, and maybe I'm misreading it, but it sounds like a very long, drawn out thing. And instead of, to me, trusting this whole long process, it's about just being present with this moment. And the moment isn't really a process, it's just the moment. So trust this moment because this moment could be much worse than it is. So I hope that helps, Brad. And I hope things get easier for you also. Other questions? Meditation, Buddhist practice. What else? Questions? Buddhist practice, meditation, challenges, difficulties, struggles. Yeah, forgiveness. I was just looking at Marissa's. It's interesting when I lead, I don't typically, I'm usually just looking out at the empty temple, and then Travis is there kind of reading questions to me. Um, but seeing everyone's kind of questions or comments, and Marissa, you said about giving forgiveness. Yeah, it's a really good point that, we give so many things. When I talk about generosity and giving, I always say the same things. You give people your hearts, you give them your time, you give them your attention, you give them a smile, you give them a hug. Not these days, but there are so many things we can give that might be different from tangible or maybe physical things or monetary things. Um, and giving people forgiveness is incredibly important. Not just giving forgiveness to others, but try forgiving yourselves. Forgiving yourself, I think, is one of the most beautiful and important practices that we all should work towards. And I think it's something that people struggle with the most. It's often easier to forgive family or friends or loved ones or strangers, but a few things we did 5, 10, 20, 30 years ago, we tend to not forgive ourselves. So try to be generous towards yourself and forgive yourself as well. But yeah, I agree with Marisa that giving forgiveness is really beautiful practice. Other questions, thoughts? Have you found meditation helps people cope with pain from their past? Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think that when I look at Buddhist teachings, really revolving around this idea of staying present with things as they are. And I mean, even in the question, pain from the past. So it's old pain. It's old. It's 5 minutes old. It's 5 years old. It's 30 years old. It's old pain. And if you break down the way you ask the question, cope with pain from the past. Well, pain from the past is doesn't exist. It's an illusion in our minds that we feel today from a story we tell ourselves about something that occurred a long time ago. So whatever happened 10, 20 years ago is done. And every time we think of it, the pain just gets stronger or it ignites or relit. So the meditation, again, how we use meditation to me as a practice in staying present is that if I am in the present moment and the past is gone, there is no pain from the past because there is no past. There's no stress or anxiety or worries about the future because there is no future. There's just this present moment. So when we look at sadness, anger, depression, those tends to happen when we focus on what happened in the past. So some of you know me through or know the meditation initiative world, and I used to kind of draw this diagram of a little stick figure and three arrows pointing past: sadness, anger, depression. Three arrows pointing this way: stress, anxiety, fear, or worry. Um, and all meditation is a concentration and focus. I draw a line down the middle on the present moment. So in that present moment, no past, no future, and to me, that's what joining palms is. It's just bringing our palms together into this moment. And in this moment, the past is done, and in this moment, the future is not here. So there's no need to worry or have fear, or anxiety, or stress about the future because I'm just sitting with you right now, breathing, talking. That's it. There's no need to be sad or angry or depressed about past because I'm just sitting here breathing, talking, and I'm going to become fully alive in this moment as it is. And I'm going to fully embrace everything about this moment. Sitting here on the floor, staring at my iPhone, which is sitting on my laptop on like a 5-second delay. So I'm talking into a little iPhone, seeing the reflection of myself on a delay, and then I'm looking at the bigger screen behind it, seeing that on a delay. And that's all. This is my life right now. This is it. There's no time to worry about the past. The past is gone. I need to be in this moment and embrace this moment. That's all. So, and meditation is that tool to bring us to the present moment. So again, similar to my earlier response, Amir, is that it's not so much that meditation helps us cope with pain from the past, but in the present moment, there is no past. And if there is no past, there is no pain from the past. Hope that's helpful. Um, how do we absolve ourselves for wrongs we do in Buddhism, if not asking a God for forgiveness? You're welcome, Samir. Um, yeah, so my master used to teach with regards to forgiveness, three things. He said that when you do something that harms someone, for example, to do three things. One, to recognize what you did was not in accord with the Buddhist teachings, that it was driven by greed, anger, ignorance, or it was not living by moral, ethical standards, precepts, things like that. That what we did was not in accord with what we've been learning. To recognize that. The second thing he said was to apologize if appropriate. Now, if I harmed someone 20 years ago and all of a sudden I have this grand moment where I'm like, oh, I feel so bad. I want to apologize to everyone. They're over it, right? You don't need to hunt somebody down from 20 years ago and apologize to them because you treated them like a piece of you know what, right? Apologize to somebody else presently. Very genuine, authentically find a friend or someone and say, I'm sorry for what I did to this person 20 years ago, and actually really feel the apology. And then the third one was to vow to not do it again. How many times have we harmed someone, said we're sorry, and then 5 minutes later, 5 weeks later, we do the exact same thing over again? So often our apologies, we just want someone else's forgiveness. We don't really want to change. So recognize what we've done wrong was not in line with the teachings. Second, apologize to the person if appropriate. If not, apologize to somebody else for that action. And third, vow to not do it again. So the question of how do we absolve in quotes, which in quotes to me that means that's a very key word here. Um, that no one is going to like wash away your sins, to use a religious reference. Um, your karma, your actions, apologies don't take away the action. You're not free from the pain you've caused. I've caused so many people so much pain in my life. And no matter how many good things I do, no matter how many apologies I make, none of that will take away the pain that I caused. It doesn't cancel each other out. Just because you do good things and apologize and somebody forgives you, even if they do, doesn't mean that their pain is gone. So, from a very personal response, I'm not looking to be absolved for wrongdoings. I'm looking to make peace with what I've done wrong within myself. If other people want to forgive me for what I've done, that's always beautiful. But I have to make peace with the way I treated people. Um, and I think, again, some of you know me, some of you don't, but if you haven't, the article, The Bully and the Buddhist, just Google The Bully and the Buddhist and read the Southwest magazine one. I mean, trust me, I've caused so much pain and harm in my life. And it's always nice to have forgiveness from others, but I need to forgive myself for things I've done. Um, but again, that forgiveness doesn't make what we did right. So I'm not looking to, um, have any sort of, I don't know if absolving can be used in a different term, but what I did was just wrong. So, That's it. So can I be okay with that? And I think that's to me a much deeper spiritual journey than just, again, this isn't a knock on any other religious view, but I'm not looking for someone to just like wash away my sins and forgive me for what I've done. Um, yeah, and Marisa, I see your comment here about the vow is so important to me. That's it. It's what I've done was wrong. What I've done was not in line with the teachings. And what I'm going to do is vow to not do this again. And can I hold true to that vow? So, Daniel, hopefully that's helpful. But, and even if, let's just say I hurt somebody and someone's going to absolve me from that. Um, that also doesn't take away the pain that somebody else felt. So even if all my sins are washed away, well, what about the people that I hurt? What does it do for them? They still felt that pain. So it's on me to be at peace with what I've done and stop doing it. Nice to see you, Heather. Glad that was helpful. And you're welcome very much, Daniel. It's a good question. Especially for those, not just you, Daniel, but anyone who might be newer to Buddhism and, um, coming from different religious backgrounds. And I don't really get into comparative religious stuff. I'm a Jewish kid who never paid attention to that, and I don't know much of religion. Um, I just have learned what the Buddha taught and try to simplify it in my life. So, um, but yeah, can we be okay with who we are? So, anything else before we wrap up and close? One more question if you want. If not, I'll go ahead and close. A couple minutes early. All right, so we'll go ahead and join palms as we close. May the benefit of this practice be shared with all beings in all directions. May all be at peace. May all be free from suffering. May any merit gained from this practice be transferred to Evan and all his family and friends who suffer at this time. May they all be at peace. May we all be at peace. So always good to sit with you all, whether I'm at temple or here or elsewhere. Just nice to be able to show up and be present with everyone. My name is Jeff. I'm a Dharma bum. We opened up the Dharma Bum Temple 14 years ago, initially downtown, and then about 3.5 years ago moved to University Heights to be a bridge to introduce Buddhist practice to local folks. So those of us who lead, we're not monks, we're not nuns, we're not gurus, we're not masters, we're not teachers. We're just practitioners. And we do our best as unenlightened folks to share our view of Buddhist teachings with those who show up. So I appreciate you showing up. Every night we have classes going on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Alex does the Wednesday night Metta, loving kindness. Travis does Thursday, the Dharma Bum Basics. I do Tuesday and Saturday. Those are on YouTube. Everything else is on Zoom. If you go on the website, thedharmabums.org, and you click on the schedule, you'll see everything and figure out where to access it. All of our recovery classes are happening. Morning meditations Monday through Friday, 8 and 8:30. Our college group, our teen group. So always something happening. I don't think anything out of the ordinary is coming up. So great to be with you all. If I never see you again, think good thoughts, speak good words, do good deeds. That's really the heart of this practice. And please be safe. We've been closed since March 12th. Be closed for a while. It just doesn't seem safe anywhere remotely, anytime remotely soon to bring people together. So most important is to keep people safe. Jim, I just saw your comment. First time here. Welcome. I always love sharing Buddhist practice with people first time. So nothing against all you regulars, but nice to see you, Jim. And please wear a mask, stay home, don't go anywhere. Um, be smart. Don't be the reason other people get sick. So thank you all. Be safe. We'll see you soon.